Today we will be talking about designing, deploying your agents across platform, and then analyzing them. So my name is Ilya. I'm the product lead of API.AI. API.AI is Google's platform for building conversational apps or agents for Google Assistant, Google Home, and also all the other platforms through API or integration. So you can also build a chatbot with it, or add voice to your robot, car, or well, any other, like any home device. In a few minutes, I will be talking about, I will show you how to build a conversational agent from scratch and deploy it across platforms. And Ofer will tell you how to analyze it and optimize.
Thanks, Ilya. So I'm Ofer. I'm the product lead on Chatbase. It's an up-and-coming service that helps developers analyze and optimize conversational experiences. And so today I'm going to go over how Chatbase can help developers with key metrics and workflows that can help you create engaging and high-converting conversational agents.
OK, but let's first think, why would you start building a conversational agent? So let's say you are building a online bagel ordering app or service. So now what you will be actually caring about is to get a really great app for like Android and iPhone, and probably a popular web service for it. But it seems like it's not enough anymore. So as you can see, analysts predict that like voice interfaces and natural language interfaces will be extremely popular. So by 2020, more than 30% of all the web browsing sessions will be done without a screen, meaning that, well, users will be asking about, asking their requests through home devices or cars or assistants. More than 50% of all the web searches will be done by voice, so through, again, mobile assistants or some other apps. And more than 85% of all the customer interactions with brands will be done without a human, through chatbots or anything else. So basically, your users will expect you to be able to provide service through a conversational agent and not just a mobile app or a web service. So this is why we are working on API.AI. So what is, important about it? It is an extremely popular platform to build conversational agents across different platforms. We have more than 150,000 developers working with the platform. It supports 14 different languages. So you can now start building your agent for English, Spanish, Portuguese, French, Chinese, Korean, Japanese. And we are adding new languages constantly. And what is extremely important about it, as I already mentioned, it is cross-platform. So you can build your agent in one place and then deploy it across multiple platforms. So why is it important? So one thing is, which is extremely important, is like, as you know, there are multiple different platforms out there where, which have audience. So you may have like a Facebook bot or a home device or some kind of an assistant. And let's say if you are adding a new service to your product, like it may be extremely difficult to update your agent across, like, for each individual platform. So it makes sense to have everything in one place. Second, and probably the most important thing, is training. And I mean both manual training and machine learning. So if we talk about manual training, let's say, you have your agent deployed across different platforms, and you get some logs from real users, and you are analyzing them and optimizing your agent. So having it all in one place makes a lot of sense, because if you update something, it will be available across all the platforms. So basically, all the platforms benefit from all the interactions with users your agent or product has. Another one is related to machine learning. So in order to train a really good machine learning model to understand what users actually want and support a meaningful conversation, you have to provide it with real-life data, like logs that you mark up. And if you have the data in several platforms, it may be much less beneficial than having everything in one place. So building a very sophisticated training set for your agent to better understand. And third, natural language is unique as a UX media because you cannot really control what users will be asking about. So you cannot tell that, my service, my chatbot implementation of service supports these commands, and my home implementation supports those. So users are not limited by any sets of commands or anything, so they can ask about everything. So you really want to have consistent UX across all the platforms. But let's switch to the demo, and I'll show how to build the agent. So this is the developer console. So this is where you get when you register with API.AI. I just created an empty agent, and I will show how to build your bagel ordering app from scratch. So as you can see, there are two main concepts in API.AI. One is intents, and another one is entities. So intents are types of actions that you want to support, so like what my user may ask me about. And entities are objects that are being used in these intents. So as you can see, there are a couple of intents that are pre-built. One is a fallback intent. So if system doesn't understand, it will trigger fallback intent. So it can say, I don't understand, can you rephrase it, or something like this? And you can obviously customize it. Second one is welcome intent. So this one is triggered when you start your agent from Google Assistant or Facebook bot or like Slack bot or something else. So it also has some pre-built responses. I can actually update it and say, greetings, I am your bagel agent. So I save it. And then let's just create our first custom intent. So for bagel ordering service, it will be bagel ordering. So I can tell something like, so here I am defining how my end users may address it. So my end user may just say, I'm hungry. Or something like, get me a bagel by 2 p.m. And as you can see, we do named entity recognition, so we mark up 2 p.m. as time. Or let's say, I can say something like, I'd like to order bagels to 123 Easy Street. Again, it understands it as an address. And let's say we'll say something like, why don't we order some bagels? So if my user says something like this, we will return action order, and it will also return the result parameters. So, and let's call it bagel order intent. And we will reply with something like, OK, ordered. And I save it. So as you can see here, I'm providing a default response here. So if my user will ask to do it, it will just respond, OK, ordered. So in real life, you would want to connect it to your business logic, to your service. So you can implement a fulfillment. So you can set up which service to call. And so now we can try it. So I can say something like, basic, like, I'm so hungry. So what happens is it says, OK, so this is the JSON that the developer will get. So user asked, I'm so hungry, and we return action order, and there are no parameters here. Or I can try something else. I can say something like, I want to buy a bagel. Again, it understands it. And what is important here, what's like the first magic here is that, the phrase that I'm using does not really look like the phrases that I was using in the demo. So the system, the intent recognition part will try to understand, and try to classify anything that is similar to what you provided. So this is like understanding single commands, but obviously we want to support some kind of conversation with the user. So let's make it a little bit more complicated. So instead of OK ordered, we'll reply something like, OK, would you like to have a drink with it? I save it. And in order to support this conversation, I will want to create some intents that work in the context of this question. So there is an easy way to do it like automatically. So I can tell add a follow-up intent to the bagel order. And I will choose select a confirmation. And I can also just create a custom empty intent. So I'll create confirmation. And let's say I'll create a rejection. And I'll customize those. So I'll call it like drink confirm. And as you can see, it has an input context. So this is a topic that starts when user asks to order bagel. So we have this bagel order context active now. And if user confirms, and there is a set of, well, some confirmation phrases, then we will reply with something like, great, your order is on its way. So let's save it. And then we will also rename our second intent, and we'll call it order reject. Sorry, drink reject. Okay. So you can also create these contexts and manage contexts automatically. So let's say we want to make it possible for the user to check the status order at any time. So I'm going to my main bagel order intent, and I will add like ordering context here. And it is possible to set a lifespan. So we are basically trying to emulate human memory. So you may have unlimited number of topics that are active at the same time. And they will expire if you are not talking about it for a while. And they will be refreshed if user keeps talking about something. So I save it, and then I will create a new intent that will be called order status. And it will work in the context of ordering. And will reach, well, and if my user says, like, where are my bagels? Or like, what's the order status? Then it will return like status action to the app developer, and the app developer will implement the business logic here. So like, let's try it again. So I can say something like, I want to buy a bagel. So you can see that it responds with, OK, would you like to have a drink with it? I can say, sure. And it says, yes, the order is on its way. So this is like really a basic way to build conversations. But let's say my user, well, my agent cannot understand the user because user, well, is asking, well, something very different. So I can tell something like, say, may, like, well, my usual order, please. Let's see if it works. Yeah, so it responds with fallback intent. It says, I didn't get that. Can you say it again? So you as a developer, you can go to training section, see your logs, and say that, well, if user says something like this, we will assign it a bagel order intent. So I approve it, and now if I again say my usual order, please, it will actually, well, proceed with the bagel ordering routine. So, but with context, you can, well, build these conversations, but you cannot really think, well, create a pre-built dialog tree. So you cannot think of all the possible ways of like ordering bagels. So there are some optimization techniques. One is slot filling. So let me show how it works. But first, I will create a couple of entities. So let's say we want to order, well, add bagel types. So I'll have like a plain bagel and like Asiago bagel and sesame bagel, let's say. So I save this entity. I can also create fillings. Let's have like salmon here. And I can add some synonyms, so it can be also called lox, for example. Or I'll have also tomatoes or cucumbers. And the final one will be spreads. So I may have like cream cheese or mustard or jam. Okay, I save it. So now I can get back to my bagel ordering intent. And by the way, so everything that I'm showing here also is available through API. So you can on the fly update your intents and entities. You can create end user specific entities. So if it's like, say, end users list of favorite artists or an address book, you can also take it into account. So let me add some more interesting examples. So I can say something like, I'd like to order 5 bagels with cream cheese. So it figures out that 5 is a number, cream cheese is a spread. You can also say, well, I want an Asiago bagel with salmon. So it figures out the type and the fillings. And so here, let's say I want to get the type and filling and spread always from the user in order to order. So I can check them as required. And let's say I may have several fillings, so I will say that this is a list. So I save it, and let's start again. So I say something like, I want a bagel. Oops. So it takes some time to train, or I'm hungry. So as you can see, it figures out that the action is order, but there are no parameters filled, and it starts asking me questions like, what's the spread? And you can reply one by one, but it may be pretty difficult to do. Well, it's hard to expect from end users to follow your instructions. So they can reply in different order, they can combine parameters and so on. So I can say something like, well, I always preferred sesame bagels. So as you can see, type is sesame now, but it keeps asking me what's the spread. And I can obviously customize the prompt as well, so I can ask something like what kind of bagel is it, or anything like this. So, or I can also reply something like, my mom would like cream cheese, well, actually, like, say, lox and tomato. Again, I'm not responding to this question, but what happens, it figures out that the fillings are salmon and tomatoes. And then let's finally tell what's the spread. So I say cream cheese is my favorite. It figures out the spread, and now all the required parameters are filled. So it keeps going with the drink. I can say, yep. And order is on the way. So I've built this basic agent. So next step for me would be to deploy it to different platforms. So I can go to integrations. And again, you can just use APIs so to deploy it to any type of platform. But we have easy-to-use integrations to popular platforms. So let's start with, say, actions on Google, of course. So I go to create a project in the console. So then I go back and say test. I'll open the simulator. And, well, I can say something like, well, talk to my test app. Oops, I'll need to re-sign in. Okay, so it replies, greetings, I'm your bagel agent. As you may remember, this is our welcome intent. So I'll say, I'm hungry. And it starts asking me all the questions. So similarly, I can enable a web demo, for example. I can set a name for it. So let's say it's my IO bagel demo. So this is my agent again. I'm hungry. Cancel. And by the way, I can also make it much more conversational by enabling small talk. So if I say hi now, it doesn't understand me. I can go and enable small talk here, and I can customize it. So let's say if it asks, who are you? I will reply, I'm an I/O bagel ordering system. Save. So when small talk is enabled, I can try it again. So I say, hi there, friend. Who are you? Oops. Takes some time to train, but anyway, you got the idea. So, and then let's also enable some third-party platform, let's say Slack. So I go to Slack, say test on Slack, enable it for my group. Takes some time to check the status. Okay, test bot is activated. And yeah, so I've got this API.AI bot. So same stuff, I can say hi. Takes some time to launch it, but like, let's say I'm hungry. I guess I was using it for another demo, and that's, oh yeah, yeah, okay, so it replies to me now. Okay, so this is all good. So the what is interesting and what was announced at this event is that, well, now Google Assistant is also available for Androids and iPhones, which actually makes you build agents that will be available to much larger audience, which is great. So let's say we build this agent and it is voice only, as you can see. It doesn't reply with some like cards or anything like this. So I can go back and upgrade it. So I'm going to my say bagel order and add an actions on Google integration. And I will say something like, well, so for the drink confirmation, we will add some suggestion chips. And it will be like sure or nope. And then when I'm going into drink confirmation, I will also add a picture here. Yummy. Save it, and let's try it again. Okay. Cancel the previous conversation. Okay. Talk to my test app. Greetings. I'm hungry. Oops, I didn't save it, I guess. Oh yeah. So I have to reply. So let's say cream cheese and what's the type? Sesame and fillings, salmon. So as you can see, it added the sure and nope suggestion chips. So I say sure, and it will respond with the answer and the card. You can also add galleries and some other types of rich content, and then can connect transactions. So by the way, the simulator, like as soon as you start testing it, it is also available on your physical device as your new home or a Pixel device, for example, or Android. So this is how you build and deploy rich agents across different platforms. And when the agent is deployed, well, next step, you would want to see how real users are actually talking to it. And Ofer will be talking about it, so how you analyze it and optimize it. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, well, thanks, Ilya.
Thank you.
Well, first I want to apologize for talking about bagels with cream cheese, slightly warm, all before lunch. So sorry about that. Good news, people building agents on API.AI now have analytics. There's a new tab that is there, and It shows you the volume of sessions that you had for your agent, and also like how deep into the conversation the users went, so like the kind of engagement. And then per intent, for example, ordering bagel, you can see metrics, including how often did the user leave the session right after an intent. And so you can really understand what's broken, and what to optimize. So now that's the end of the demo. Now I'm going to go back to some slides. So, this analytics service is powered by Chatbase, and Chatbase is this new up-and-coming service for analytics. We're currently in early access program, and so people can go to chatbase.com and request access if they want even more detailed analytics than what I've shown right now. So let's talk about the detailed analytics. Next slide.
Oh, there is a clicker there.
Okay. So yeah, so Chatbase is analytics for chatbot. What we've learned from talking to tens of chatbot developers over the last few months, some of the top ones out there, is that, oh, that's what I need. Okay, and we learned that, we learned that traditional analytics just don't cut it. That because chatbots are built differently, they're multi-turn experiences that are expected to handle variable kinds of input. You can't just use a normal website or app analytics product. And so talking to all these developers, we learned their best practices and put it all into this easy-to-use service. So just like API.AI, Chatbase is also cross-platform, because what we learned is that developers like to deploy on multiple platforms. They don't just do one, usually. And so being able to compare metrics per platform is really powerful. And the way that developers often use this is they might have, let's say, a voice agent that has good engagement, but let's say their text-based one is suffering, is not doing as well. You can zero in on that and fix the text one. And so, let's talk about the bagel example a little more. So you've deployed your bagel agent, and now you want to know how well it's growing. That's often the first question you ask. And so we give you some metrics that are familiar, like active users and number of sessions. But also you can see per intent what's going on, like the kind of growth you're getting. On the engagement side, you can see how deep people went into the conversation. But also, we heard that a lot of chatbots drive traffic to their existing website or app. So we show that kind of activity as well. In the bagel example, maybe you want to see the nutritional details of the bagel. That might be on the web page. So that's captured. And then with retention, we show you cohorts that you can filter by intent. And so you can zero in on particular repeatable actions around specific things in your chatbot. Also on the retention side, especially for text-based agents, you often send notifications to re-engage the user. And so we show you how those campaigns are doing, and you can A/B test it there. But what we learned is that the real work of optimizing an agent is really done at the intent level. And so we show you those details, and you can see in this case with bagels that after a lot of people did the initial ordering, 9,000 people, or 7,000, and then a lot of them rejected the drink upsell or cross-sell, and then left the session. They didn't complete. They didn't get to the order it phase. And so you can start to see a story of what's happening and where people are dropping off. And you can also see response time. Sometimes people are exiting. Let's say the drink upsell was taking forever to get back to the user. We show you 50 percentile, 90 percentile response time, and that can be really useful at the intent level. But we went even further. Developers told us that looking at a table can be daunting, especially as you have more and more intents. And so what we do is we automatically generate something we call the session flow. And what that is the sequence of intents that the users went through. And if we look at the example we talked about, you can see that the places where people dropped off, and where this is useful is really to help you understand what steps should I optimize along the way. And also, this is that 10,000-foot view of like, what are people really doing in my chatbot? So let's talk about one of our early access partners and the benefit they saw from Chatbase. So Viber is a messaging app with over 800 million registered users, and they have their own chatbot platform with their own bots and also third-party ones. And they realized that pretty quickly that normal analytics wasn't going to work for them, and so they started using us. And for one of their top chatbots, which is like a digital sticker sharing bot, you can send your friends stickers of cats, dogs, and so on. They saw that really popular queries were having high exit rates, and so they optimized those. And after that, they saw a 35% bump in total queries, in query volume. So, really excited to hear more stories about how some of you out there will benefit from Chatbase. And in terms of next steps, go to API.AI and build an agent. You can also go to chatbase.com and request access to the early access program. We also have code labs. So whether online or here on the premise, you can try a code lab both for Chatbase and for API.AI. If you're building actions, then please join our vibrant community online. And at this point, we're going to open it up for questions. If we don't get to your question, please stop by our sandbox right out here in the assistant space, and we can answer it there and also demo for you both products. Thank you.